I don't know. We've handicapped ourselves so much with modern technology that now even people who go hiking and spend regular time in the outdoors are anxious and concerned that it's getting towards evening and it might get dark out and you might be in the woods in the dark. Yeah, no, it's just good to get out here in the mountains. This isn't very far from our home, and see some beautiful sunsets, waterfalls. Listen to the kids complaining because they didn't want to come for a hike, but we dragged them out here anyway, so that's always lovely. But whatever, that's life. They're young, they'll get over it. So here's a question. What are we so used to and dependent on artificial light that we as civilized human beings are scared of the dark? So hiking up here, here's what brings this on. This is what brings this about in my mind and what I'm thinking about, because it's something that I'm pondering now, because like how big a deal is this? So hiking up here, it's getting towards evening, you know, we're almost into winter here, and a lot of folks were like, oh, you know, it's almost getting dark out. You guys heading all the way to the falls? Oh yeah, we're gonna head all the way to the falls. Oh wow, well, you know, it's you know, you realize it's almost, they must have thought we were like just drove up from the city and had no idea what we were doing, because they're all like, oh, you know it's gonna get dark here in a few minutes, and it gets dark out here in the woods, you know, you better be careful, you know, you should probably turn around in a few minutes and head back to the cars, because it's about to get dark really soon. I mean literally, like almost every single person we ran into while coming up the trail. And it's got me really pondering, are we as a society, I mean, even some of the folks looked like they were fairly competent hikers and go out for, you know, day hikes and stuff. Maybe there were even some backpackers on a regular basis. I don't know. Are you guys that concerned about the dark that you get anxious or nervous in the outdoors when it starts getting towards evening and you see the sun going down? It just doesn't compute. I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, well, okay, so let's say it gets dark and you have a light. Well, if you have a headlamp or something, you're golden, right? Perfect. If it's pitch black, then you just feel your way along. I don't know. Have you ever walked in the woods at night and with no light and just felt your way along a path? You just go slow. You slow down. Pay attention to the woods, pay attention to what's under your feet. And it could be completely black. You go blindfold yourself. You should blindfold yourself and be able to follow a trail through the woods. And you should know when you're getting off the trail, because it's gonna feel different under your feet. You're gonna be on forest floor instead of on a trail, a hard packed trail. So, you know, a really well traveled trail in a local national park, national forest, state park, whatever, somewhere outdoors that's heavily used, that people are using a lot. You should be able to walk on that trail in the pitch black or blindfolded. No problem. Growing up in West Virginia, this used to drive my siblings crazy, because we would camp out all the time on our farm in West Virginia. But if we were leaving the house at night and heading down to our camp, like say we'd been out all day, built this great campsite, and then went up to the house to eat supper, and we were heading out later in the evening and it was dark or almost dark, and we were heading down to our campsite, we had flashlights, but I would not allow anybody to use the flashlights because I didn't want to be handicapped by that. I wanted to learn how to find our camp, move through the forest, go down through the horse pasture, let our eyes adjust to the ambient light, and be able to work with that. So I don't know, I used to do that all the time when we were younger. It used to drive my sisters absolutely crazy because I'd take the flashlights away. I get so upset if somebody turned a flashlight on. And I used to work for a camp, and I used to teach wilderness living at a summer camp, and one of the things I would do with the campers is that part of the program was I wanted them to become more familiar and comfortable with the outdoors. So one of the things we would do sometimes is we would set up a course, a particular section of trail or something they had to follow. It was very obvious, and I would have me and maybe some other staff out along the trail, make sure there were no issues, nobody got hurt. There was some safety stuff we put in place, but we would have them follow a certain route through the forest in the pitch black at night, no artificial light at all. They had to do it with nothing, just feeling their way. You slow down, take your time, and you can make it down a trail in the dark, in the pitch black, no problem. You'll get good at it. You just gotta practice and do it. What do you got there? Success. What's your success?
Half the tree.
Half of it?
Mm-hmm.
As you can see, my children are pillaging the forest, just taking whatever they feel like taking. This right here is a birch tree, and the bark of the birch tree has a resin in it that allows it to light on fire under, we'll say, adverse conditions. Doesn't have to be perfectly dry, doesn't have to be perfect conditions. You can light birch bark on fire and it'll burn pretty decently to get a fire going. So my kids are obsessed with it. I taught them years ago that if you're hiking along and you never know what's gonna happen. So, if you come across some good tinder material, something that is a good fire starter, really dry, fluffy, light material in the forest, in the outdoors, it's kind of hard to come by. It's not something you come by really easily or readily out in the outdoors. So if you do happen to come by some, especially if it's a wet, damp condition, and you happen to come by some really nice, dry, fluffy material, like some really nice, dry birch bark peeling off the tree, grab some, shove it in a pocket, keep it dry, and then you just got it on hand in case something happens. So my kids love this, and they just, they're always collecting fire material in hopes that I will let them burn something down. Zoe! Zoe! What are you doing?
Just tell Dad that we're going down the mountain.